Hi everyone, it's Jamie from Meldevon Sewing. Recently I posted a photo on Instagram where I was making a rolled hem in some chiffon to finish off a dress that I was making. And I had lots of comments from people saying, please can you show us how to do it. So I'm going to do a really quick little run through of how to do a rolled hem using the overlocker on some fine fabric. So first up, for this particular machine I'm going to use a 2-thread rolled hem. So I'm going to be using my right needle, which is the green on the machine. So my right needle's in, I've removed the left needle. And I'm going to be using the lower looper, which is the yellow on this machine. Now, as I said, we've removed the left needle, so I've set tension to 0. The upper looper, which is red, we've removed the thread, so I've set that to 0. But we have to install the converter onto the upper looper, which I showed you in my last video. So here is the converter, which is this white plastic bit with a little metal bar fixed securely, follow your manual if you're not sure, onto the upper looper because we're not using a thread. If you don't put the converter in, it won't work. Because we're going to be doing a really fine rolled hem in some fine fabric, our stitch length selector we want to turn all the way back. To this case it says F, which stands for fine. We want the stitchings to be as close together as possible. The differential feed on this machine I'm going to adjust also. The dress I was making was the bottom hem of a skirt, and at certain points I was having to sew through the bias, which meant the fabric would stretch if we weren't careful. So I'm going to drop this down slightly, so it's about 1.5. This will ensure that as we're sewing, the fabric is gathered very slightly together as it runs through the machine to stop it stretching out of shape. Of course, the all-important tensions, 0 for the left needle because we're not using thread. My right needle, I've got it set to 2. Upper looper again is 0 because we've not got any thread, and for our lower looper I've got that set to 4. Of course your machine may vary slightly and you might have to tweak it a little bit depending on the fabric you're using. The final step before we start to sew is there's a thing called a stitch finger which sits in here, and on this machine we have a lever. When the lever's forwards, it will do a straight stitch. We want to pull it back, which moves the little lever, the little finger out of the way, which will allow us to do a rolled hem. It's really important. So you can see I've got the blade engaged, and all that is going to do is trim the smallest fraction off the end of the fabric as we go. It just makes sure that the finished rolled hem is really neat. So we can slip, here we got a nice piece of chiffon, slip that under the foot and away we go. So you can see the fabric feeding in from the front, the edge is being chopped off very slightly. Obviously the machine's going really fast, but if we slow it down you should be able to see what's happening. And here is the rolled hem coming out the back of the machine as we go. So here we have a lovely rolled hem in a piece of chiffon, and it's very narrow. If we put a ruler on there, it's about just over about 1.5 millimeters wide, so it's a really neat finish. Obviously the reverse is equally as neat. Okay, so in my last video I promised you something which I've done, and it will be up on my blog, so head over to my blog, click on the free stuff and you'll be able to download a sheet. This is designed for beginners. It's a little sample sheet. So what you can do once you've having a go with your overlocker, you can put what your project is. So here, 2-thread rolled hem in chiffon, your number of threads you're using, the tensions that you're using, the stitch length, differential feed, whether you use the converter and where the stitch finger was, and then chop out a sample of what you've done and pin it to it. So then you've got something for reference. Like I said, it's free. Head over to my blog and download yourself a copy. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy sewing.